Time now for the Sports Six-Pack with Andrew Rogers.
It is that time again, the Sports Six-Pack from Hale Varsity Club, the best place to get that six-pack and watch all things sports. That's why we like to deliver your questions here, whether it comes from coffee and cream in the morning or something that you send via social media. I bring them here to this pod. We get them answered and have some fun while we're doing it. Shaner's got your cues. Shane, start us off.
Question number 1.
So we've officially entered the final month of Nebraska football. How would you grade their first 2 months?
C minus?
That's a little steep.
You think that's too steep?
That's a little lofty, but it's your
C minus.
Your answer.
You know what? I said it. I'm going to stick with it. The reason I say that is, just look at, okay, the situation, of course, with Scott Frost being fired and having to try to revamp your season after something like that. But take a look at what happened to open the season. You cough one up to Northwestern. You cough it up to Georgia Southern. You barely skate by FCS opponent North Dakota. Thank goodness there's a second half to a football game. And then you get into the Mickey Joseph tenure. You have to come back against Rutgers, which Rutgers had a very good defense, and Nebraska showed some resilience getting back and winning 14-13. But it was still only a 1-point win, less than impressive. Indiana was, of course, a very impressive second half performance. But then you look at the losses that have come. I almost would say the game against Purdue was the best game they played all season so far. But they still lost that game. And as I tried to assess all of those things, and like I said, it's unfair to put a lot of points against the Mickey Joseph team opposed to the Scott Frost team, but I have to give an overall grade. And frankly, when you sit where you're at today with 3 wins and you have a tough last 4 games, C minus I think is fair.
Well, you sold me on it. I'll take it. C minus.
I could have said D. I really could have, and that would have been mean.
You should have said D.
Question number 2.
Tennessee predicted to finish the year number 1 according to CFB's first playoff rankings. Does that all change this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As we sit today, yes, Tennessee has the best strength of schedule win in regards to the win against Alabama. But once they see Georgia, DB and I talk about it all the time. There's no chance this game is any less than a 10-point win for Georgia. There's no doubt in my mind. Plus, now you look at what the playoff rankings will be like as we get closer to that time. The winner essentially has the berth to the conference championship game locked up. It's a virtual lock, whoever wins this football game. But the loser, if it ends up being Georgia, just say, now you fall to an outside position. You have no margin for error the rest of the way. And it's the same thing for Tennessee. Both go hand in hand when I make this case. Now you have to hope for some confusion at the top of the rankings in order to contend for one of those playoff positions. But when you look at this matchup in particular, Georgia just has the better defense. I know they lost their best pass rusher in Nolan Smith, but their offense is just so well put together. Hendon Hooker is a flashy stud. He's a very, very good quarterback. And he deserves the attention he's getting right now as we look toward Heisman Trophy, right? And Jalen Hyatt's a stud too. Leads the nations in touchdown receptions. They have a lot of weapons on this Tennessee team. It makes this game become the game of the century. Is that too obnoxious to say?
That might be a little much.
Could be obnoxious, but I'm telling you, man, this is going to be the most watched football game, college football game in a long time. You can mark my word there. But I think Georgia gets the win. I think it's a healthy win. And it's safe to say that this win could push Tennessee out of the college football playoff entirely.
Question number 3.
So, Andrew, if you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone there, which ones would you keep?
All but 3. I'd have to keep my text messaging app. I'd have to keep Safari or Google, some type of internet app. And then I would keep, would I keep ESPN or would I keep my phone, like my call app? Because I like to call people. I prefer to call people than text. But texting is, it's so efficient when it comes to when you have time to talk. You can talk right then and there, and then you can wait for them to respond to you. I guess I would give up phone calling and keep the ESPN app just so I have access to all things sports at all times. But I guess Safari could do that too, right? I guess I could just type in ESPN.
I'll go with the first 2. I mean, you got to keep like Google Chrome and then texting, but ESPN maybe that's a stretch.
Maybe a phone call app. Maybe my DraftKings app. Ooh.
That's probably what you need right there.
Yeah, I do need my sports betting app. There's a lot that I have on my phone. That's hard to give. What about my camera, right? Like you need the app for your photo, like the photos, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to go with text messaging. I'm going to go with Safari because you can get a lot with Safari. I'm going to drop ESPN, and I'm going to say my camera. I'm going to keep my camera. It's a weird one, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to drop phone calls.
Question number 4.
What's the key for the Nets following Steve Nash's departure?
To get back to greatness. You have Kevin Durant. You have Kyrie Irving. Both guys average over 30 points a game. KD, easily one of the best scorers in the NBA. He could be in conversation as the best player in the NBA. You look at Kyrie and how well he's been playing despite all of the baggage that comes with him. And Ben Simmons can be productive when he plays defense. He just really hasn't been playing defense like the Defensive Player of the Year he won just a year ago. They need to be better defensively. 100%. They rank the lowest in almost every defensive category, and that's what costs them most games. You have to play some sort of defense to be good in the NBA. I know a lot of people say, the NBA, nobody plays defense in the NBA. It's all about who can score and when they can score. You still have to stop the other team. And you're putting up over 110 points roughly per game. If you're doing that, you should win more than 2 games. You have to be better defensively. So whoever comes in next, whether it's Udoka or somebody else, most likely going to be Udoka just based off a lot of reports, you have to go back in, sit everybody down, and say, hey, today we're working on defense. You guys know how to score. We're working on defense today.
Question number 5.
So the Astros plan to throw Javier tonight. After the loss, should they make the switch over to Justin?
Yes, they should.
Well, damn right they should.
I'm shocked that they haven't. They had the rain delay to give Verlander an extra day of rest. Look what the Phillies are doing. They're throwing Nola. What are you doing? You were granted a wish. The baseball god said, hey, let's see every team's best pitcher as much as we can. You throw Justin Verlander in this game. If you see the Phillies are going to throw Aaron Nola, you do not go with Javier. No shot. You throw Justin Verlander and you make it a game 1, round 2. Because guess what they're going to do next game, Shaner?
What are they going to do?
If the Phillies win next game,
which they might.
If they win this game with Aaron Nola and go up 3-1, I bet you see Syndergaard in game 5. And you see if the bullpen can do something. You give Wheeler an extra day of rest, and then you throw Zach Wheeler again. Or you do the contrary, and you just throw Wheeler and say, let's go nuts. Let's try to win this in 5. You throw Justin Verlander tonight, and I can't believe the switch hasn't been made yet.
Interesting.
Question number 6.
Is that you, Bourbon?
It might be. In your opinion, record aside, who are the top 6 teams in the NFL?
Top
right now.
6 teams.
Yeah.
Well, some have to do with record and some will not, I guess. I would say the Eagles at 1, the Bills at 2, the Chiefs at 3, the Vikings at 4, the Dolphins at 5.
Wow.
And that is, frankly, just based on how well put together that offense is. I mean, how strong they are. I mean, they have the best receiving core in all of football. And they just got Bradley Chubb at the trade deadline. Their defense is going to be spectacular with that addition. And they lost their games mostly because Tua wasn't in.
Right.
That's actually why they lost all 3 games that they did. And I would actually say the 49ers is the 6th team on my list. I know a lot of people would be like, oh, you missed the Cowboys or you missed this team or that team. Cowboys are a good team, but their defense is, I mean, top notch.
You missed the Raiders.
I missed the Bears too.
And you missed the Bears.
I know. I can't believe I didn't add those. Those are 7 and 8, right? But no, the way I look at it, I'd go Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Vikings. Who else did I say? Dolphins and 49ers. Those would be my top 6 teams. Put all records aside, just based on overall talent, I think those are the top 6 teams in the NFL. But like I said, the Cowboys make a case with that defense.
Feeling tipsy yet? Catch more of Andrew Rogers from 7 to 9 in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio.